Hey everyone, Soundwave 8084 here with another episode of Fans Pick. I posed a question 3 months ago. Doesn't feel like it's been that long, but it's been 3 months. I asked, which decade was your favorite for Transformers toys? Now, I'm sorry it took me this long to get to this, but I had 260 votes on this. Now, YouTube only gives me like 4 slots to put a decade, so I could not include what decade we're currently in of the 2020s. So I asked, was the 1980s your favorite decade for Transformers? Was it the 1990s, the 2000s, or the 2010s? Now, 260 votes were cast on this poll, and I said if it's the 2020s, you can leave me a comment down down below. And I got some comments. I think it was like 7 comments that mentioned 2020s being the best. Other ones will still say 80s and stuff like that. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the winner of this poll, and then I'm going to re-ask you again, and I'll make a poll as well on my YouTube community tab. I might do one over on Instagram and stuff as well, taking the winner of this one versus the 2020s and see which one is the best. Now I'm going to tell you the results, and then I'm going to give you what I think is my best decade for Transformer toys. Now I'll give you a little reasoning why I think that. So out of the 260 votes, coming in dead last, out of the 4 options you can actually click on, would be the 1990s with 10% of the vote. Now that 1990s includes the very end of G1. We got G2, we got Beast Wars, Machine Wars, and Beast Machines hitting in that decade. Now coming in third place would be the 2000s with 14% of the vote. I'm actually surprised with that. I think the 2000s did some good Transformers, at least for the alt mode. And the 2000s includes, RID 2001. We got the Unicron trilogy, the Energon, Cybertron, and Armada. I get them all mixed up. We got Transformers Prime in that. We got the first 2 live action films. We got the classics and the start of the Chug line coming out right then. 2000 also gave us the commemorative series of G1, but that doesn't really count because that's G1. Then it ended right there after Revenge of the Fallen. Was about to transition into the other lines, which would kick off the 2010s. So coming in at second place would be the 2010s with 34% of the vote. Now that is second place. That's a lot of the percentage of the vote. 2010s is going to carry on the Revenge of the Fallen toy line and give us the Hunt for the Decepticons. Continue the Chug, the Generations line. It's going to then transition to Dark of the Moon, Thrilling 30, the Prime Wars trilogy, and of course the kickoff of Siege. Also we got RID out of that. We get Transformers Prime. I don't know if I said them. We get Cyberverse, and we get Earth's. No. I think Cyberverse was the last one of that. So we get that in that decade there. 2010s gave us a lot of memorable figures. We got increase in some articulations, stuff like that. It was a mixed bag though. I think with that decade, going from the Revenge of the Fallen toy line, which was going over to 2010 with the Hunt for Decepticons. We got some more intricate transformation Transformers. And then we got the Thrilling 30 line, Dark Moon, which sort of shrunk some of the Transformers down a little bit. And then we got into the Prime Wars, which really simplified the transformation schemes. But I think it gave us some bangers of head sculpts and overall look of the figures, but while simplifying and trying to do the combining gimmick for lots of figures, even figures that didn't really need it. We also got some really bad looking figures, I think, in that decade as well. The Prime, was the Powers of the Prime Starscream. He's this a pure Eggo waffle if you turn him around. And coming at number 1, I knew this one would be number 1 just because our rose tinted nostalgia glasses blinds us to this decade, thinking it's purely the best, and it still is. 1980s, giving us G1 Transformers. Now I say it's the best for nostalgia. It's the best because it's what kicked it off. But for an action figure, compared to nowadays about the posing and stuff, not there. But we get some really kick-ass alt modes. Most Transformers are parts formers though. The hands are missing, parts are missing. Get the atom on, things will get lost very easily. So 1980s, while giving us the iconic characters, toys, and everything, also gave us things that not ruin Transformers, but it's just things that can be a nuisance or annoying, like parts forming, which I don't really mind it. But when you're a kid and you have all these pieces that you need to make the robot mode, they're easy to lose. So we got lots of easy to lose pieces. So my next question for you is, you can leave this answer down in the comments below. 1980s versus the 2020s. Which decade so far has given us the best Transformers? And then about equals out. Now 84 pretty much to 89. We got 5 years of Transformers. Right now we're going from 2020 to 2024. Pretty much, almost. We're about to kick off the 5th year here of Transformers for this decade. So about the same amount of output, you could say. So which decade is the best between the 1980s and what we're currently in of the 2020s? You can let me know down in the comments below. I'll also pose this question over my YouTube community page, probably on Instagram as well. Now, which decade of these 4 do I think gave us the best? The 80s, the 90s, 2000s, or the 2010s? I really like the 2000s just for the sheer fact I think it gave us some really kick-ass alt modes. The Toys in alt mode. Yeah, I think I skipped one. The alternators came out that decade as well. Really nice toys right there. But we got some really nice alt modes, quality alt modes. We still get some rubber tires in this. We're getting chrome headlights that were clear plastic, but the whole piece wasn't clear plastic, and the painted was just good. It seemed like the alt modes still got a lot of attention. The robot modes were still hit or miss, like G1. You didn't have all this articulation. Articulation was limited, especially in the first half of the 2000s, I feel. So I think while giving us some really nice looking alt modes, it kind of failed us in the robot modes. But I think overall, just for the quality of product, the feel of the toy, I think 2000s is a good time there. For the best overall articulation and posability of Transformers, really Siege kicked that off, and I think now going to 2018 to the 2020s is giving us some of the best posable and designed looking, like overall looking Transformers. They look like they did back then, really trying to capture the essence of G1 and a lot of stuff. But of course, my overall favorite decade is always going to be the 1980s. Again, the alt modes got the shine. The robot modes were the hidden mode. That's part of the playability they were originally designed for back in Diaclone, Microchange, and all that. You thought it was a real thing, but it was a robot hidden inside. So again, the alt modes got some really nice love and attention, while the robot modes were very hit or miss. A lot of misses though, especially in early G1. So I think overall, for the best overall quality of product, probably I'm going to go with 2000s. But just for the overall love of the characters and the look of everything, 1980s still wins out. But I'm really enjoying what's coming out now in the 2020s. So don't forget to vote in the poll and let me know down in the comments below, 1980s or 2020s. Which one's giving us the best Transformers? Till next one, peace out.